If you don't support the rate increase, what other options for revenue might OPPD have in the future? And we'll start with Tom Mulligan.
Well, and as I said earlier, you know, I'm not here to second guess what the board has already passed. In my first answer, you know, I tried to explain the challenges that a company like OPPD has in making sure that the infrastructure that they have or using is safe and reliable. So it's a very difficult question. You know, the fairness issue, I think, probably comes to mind first, because, you know, we as users, we all expect that electricity, that power source, to be available to us. And in order for that to happen, the infrastructure must be in place, and for the infrastructure to be in place, there's got to be a sufficient revenue stream to ensure that that is there in a safe and reliable condition.
So the first fallacy is that revenues were dropping from 2014 to 2015, and they weren't. They were up 2 to 3%. Meanwhile, costs were up about 2%. The big difference was retail sales were up 3.6, while wholesale, which means on the open market, the Southwest Power Pool is down 12%. And why that is a whole other story, but let's not kid ourselves. The retail sales have been doing generally just fine. Now, the question, however, was, okay, if we're not going to do rate restructuring, then what should we do instead? And I'll answer that question. First, you know, they're transitioning to smart grid technology, and what smart grid is going to allow a PPD to do is that it's going to give them a variety of different pricing alternatives and options, rather than just the simple per kilowatt hour that they're doing, regardless of when you're using it. And the main thing that they'll do, which is what they do with some of their larger commercial customers, is they change the rate that you pay based on what your peak demand is. So whenever you hit that peak during the day, during the month, during the year, that's going to be at a higher rate, because what they don't want to do is have to build another power plant for that. Second thing that I want to take a look at is on-bill financing. That's something that they can definitely do, and there's a nice revenue source for them. And the last would be to incentivize electric vehicles. Most people, when they're plugging in their electric vehicles, is at night. That's when their demand is the lowest, and it's a great way for them to supplement what they typically are paying for at night, which is streetlights.
Okay.